Hey everyone, to those of you here in Korea with me, happy Chuseok, and to everyone watching, welcome back to the channel, all 14 of you. But if you are a new face who happened to stumble across my channel by some kind of freak accident, do like the cool kids do and hit like and subscribe below before you leave. Today I wanted to talk about something that I struggled with and a lot of people with weight issues have struggled with, and that is an addiction to food. I love food. I love the taste of it. I love cooking it. I love the social aspects of going out to a restaurant with friends. Especially here in Korea, I love me some Korean barbecue. Bring on the pork and soju. Food addiction comes in many different shapes and forms, but at the end of the day, it usually results with a person taking in more calories than they are actually burning, which leads to weight gain, which can lead to health issues. And mine wasn't any different. My addiction wasn't to candy or sweets or or potato chips, any of that junk food. My addiction was to that good Southern food that I grew up with, the fried chicken, the pastas, the casseroles. Basically, if it was creamy or greasy or fatty, I wanted to eat it. Basically anything that I could cover in a sauce or deep fry. And it was really important that I changed that. I knew that in order to be successful, I had to completely quit the stuff cold turkey until I became less dependent on food and developed a better relationship with my food. But it also needed to be done simply enough that I didn't spend all of my time thinking about the food, the what can I eat, what can't I eat, because that actually made things worse for me. And it became this vicious cycle where I would try to do better and not think about food as much. But by doing that, I ended up thinking about food even more. And then I would just spiral out of control and end up back where I started. Now, I'm not saying that there are things I will never allow myself to eat as long as I live. Even though I am still losing weight and I'm not quite at the maintenance level, I do allow some exceptions, such as special social situations. I know that if I'm going to be in a situation where I won't have the best food options, I'll make smarter choices throughout the rest of the day, because at the end of the day, you're just looking for a calorie deficit. Now, this is not something that I would ever recommend to somebody who has a history of binging, and this is something that I actually had to work up my way to, and I can do this now because I have better self-control over what I put in my body, and I know when to stop. This wouldn't have been possible 6 months ago, and it's something else that I will talk about in another video. Getting back on track. So in my first video, I talked about the egg fast, the original kind of jumpstart diet that got me on this entire journey. And today I wanted to run you through what a general day of eating looks like and kind of explain what the egg fast is. If you don't do it correctly, it can turn into just this crash diet. You're going to be upset, you're going to be miserable, and it's just going to come completely back. Because the thing about the egg fast is what you're doing is you're cutting out pretty much all carbohydrates, and you're limited to eggs and then some kind of fat and a little bit of cheese. But the point of the egg fast is to break a weight loss plateau. And when you do go on the egg fast, a lot of what you're going to lose first is water weight if you've been consuming a lot of salt or that kind of a thing. And it's not an actual fat loss, but it does kind of help you jump your motivation back up and kind of get back on the right track. So the basic idea of the egg fast is that you eat a minimum of 6 eggs per day, each egg accompanied with 1 tablespoon of fat. This can come from butter, certain types of oil, or mayonnaise, that kind of a thing. And then you're allowed to have 4 ounces of some kind of cheese. I used shredded cheddar, mascarpone cheese, and cream cheese for the majority of the recipes that did involve cheese. However, I love cheese. Like, I have an uncontrollable love for cheese. So I tried to avoid using it for the most part. Unsuccessfully. So usually I only eat 1 to 2 meals a day, but during the egg fast I made sure to have 3. Kind of to keep my mouth busy because, I wanted to be snacky on something, but also to make sure that I didn't feel deprived during these few days. So I wouldn't give in to temptations. I usually would make something sweet in the morning, like egg crepes, which is just basically a scrambled egg pancake with a little bit of cream cheese, cinnamon, and then your whatever kind of sweetener you like. Lunchtime is one of my biggest challenges. I'm a teacher and it seems like there are always some kind of snacks around, whether it's cake or cookies or bread. that kind of thing. Parents really love to bring, little gifts for teachers, and they're usually some form of sweet, edible goodness that I was not allowing myself to have. One of the things that I did make for lunch were deviled eggs. Now, deviled eggs are a Southern staple, but they're usually reserved for special occasions like barbecues, 4th of July parties, family reunions. So even though I was on this ridiculously strict diet, I almost felt like I was indulging by making them. They're also really, really easy to make, even though they are a little bit time consuming. Now, for the egg crepes and the deviled eggs, if you don't know how to make either of those, I will link some recipes in the description below. Dinner was usually a toss-up between a couple of over medium eggs or some scrambled with cheese eggs. Either way, the entire day was a really simple, no mess way of eating. There was no guesswork involved, which means that I was able to focus on other things in my life instead of what I was going to be eating that day. Between all of this, and this is so important, I can't stress it enough, I drank a ton of water and unsweetened iced tea. One of the things that really does help with your cravings is actually drinking water, because many times when your body is craving something, it just means that you're dehydrated. So the next time you're really craving something, try drinking some water. If you don't like plain water, you can go for a flavored water, but make sure that it doesn't have any calories or any added sugars, as that actually can contribute to your cravings. All in all, I lost almost 10 pounds on this week-long egg fast, understanding that that wasn't 10 complete pounds of fat. A lot of that was water weight, but it did really jumpstart my weight loss, and it really did get me motivated. Now, this isn't going to be the same for everybody across the board. If you are heavier than me, you're probably going to lose more weight. If you weigh less than me, you're probably going to lose less weight. It all depends on your height to weight ratio, how active you are, genetics, etc. But it really did help me jumpstart this diet because it took away all the guesswork. I saw immediate results, not just on the scale, but in the way my clothes were fitting. And it made me feel like I could actually do this. And it let me ease into a healthier lifestyle by eating nothing but eggs, but then finding a different recipe that still followed the low carb lifestyle that I could add into it. But at the end of the day, I didn't have to track. I didn't have to spend a whole lot of time thinking about what I was going to eat. But you have to understand that this is not a sustainable long-term diet. You're not going to lose 100 pounds eating only eggs. If you try and limit yourself to nothing but eggs for your entire weight loss journey, you're going to fall off, you're going to crash, you're going to bounce back to your old eating habits, and you're going to gain all of the weight back. This has to be something that you go into with a mindset that it is not forever. More that it is a transition from your old lifestyle to a new, healthier lifestyle. Now, I've only done this fast for maybe a week. 3 to 5 days is the average. Some people have done it for 30 days. I would not recommend that. It takes a very special person to eat nothing but eggs for 30 days. But after you're finished, what's more important is transitioning back to a healthy diet. Now, I prefer to do low carb. I don't do keto per se because I don't worry about being in ketosis. I do low carb because I tend to eat fewer calories when I am following a low carb diet. But at the end of the day, it's whatever works for you, but just make sure that you are transitioning back to something sustainable or all of this work will be for nothing. I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and I want to know your thoughts. Please comment below. Let me know if the egg fast is something that you would consider trying. Please comment if you would not consider trying it, but let me know why. I would really, really love to know. But now it's coffee time. See you next time.